500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, and I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election.
That's Senator John Fetterman on The View blowing up Sunny Hostin's little fantasy that Democrats can keep pretending the radical wing didn't torch their own party. Because apparently Sunny hasn't noticed that her party's shutdown games, socialist demands, and coastal bubble arrogance cost them everything last election. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like Fetterman is still the only Democrat willing to say out loud what everyone else is terrified to admit. Because the far left's toxic ideas, identity obsessions, and shutdown theatrics are exactly what pushed moderates and independents away from the party of progressive pod people. Here's Fetterman spelling it out for Dana Bash as CNN tries to tiptoe around the truth.
You said, quote, "I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left." That is pretty remarkable. To hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
No. It's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, we're on all the platforms. Really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, blue sky. It's blue sky." And the difference is, the right would say really rough things and names. Some names I won't repeat on TV. But the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one. They claimed, the doctor let us down, and why did they have to save his life? Just really I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die. Literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. That's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
Fetterman saying the left is more hateful than the right isn't some edgy soundbite. It lines up with everything we've watched for years. His digital team saw the death wishes, the stroke jokes, and the vile gifs on places like Blue Sky, and it tracks with what we saw after the attacks on Trump and Charlie Kirk. Let's not forget that the Center for Strategic and International Studies found that left-wing extremism is making up most of the political violence incidents in 2025. And when 60% of independents see Democrats as too extreme, it's clear as day that the far left is poisoning their own party.
Do you believe that this may be, at least in part, about your party changing and the populist movement in reaction to MAGA and the Democratic Socialists, that this may be a moment where they want to take over the Democratic Party?
I promise you, America's future and my party's future is not socialism or kinds of outlandish far left kinds of ideas. And it's been a year ago, after we lost the election, a lot of those part of those ideas pushed our party over the cliff. And that's why we're in this situation right now. That's why we're firmly in the minority. And that's why we've lost control of the White House. So some people, if you think that's a solution, that's fine, but it's going to be a competition of ideas, and we know that's not going to prevail. What's going to prevail is common sense. What's going to prevail, choosing this country over, part of the extreme in our party. What's going to prevail is common sense, and I do believe, for me, in the kinds of chaos that we have in this Trump administration, we should respond with order and logic and patriotism, and not shutting down our government right now. And that's where I'm at. And I don't know why that's controversial. You know, that's not a big tent party. If you're not allowed to have the opinion that it's wrong to shut our government down and put these people in the middle of it and now referred to as you're a traitor, or, you know, saying all these other kinds of labels.
You know, Fetterman's own book lays this all out. Open borders, defund the police theatrics, and nonstop shaming politics alienated the working class so badly that union households flipped Republican for the first time since Reagan. The 2025 left-wing riots that caused over $500 million in damage didn't help either. And those big wins in NYC or deep blue governorships are meaningless blips in urban enclaves dominated by 25% turnout. Fetterman's the rare Democrat admitting the radicals made the party unelectable. But let me know what you think. Is Fetterman exposing the radicals for what they are, or is he just the last sane voice in a party that doesn't want to be saved? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.